Hi everyone, so today I want to talk a little bit about collective bargaining and what collective bargaining is and how that translates into power when it comes to unionizing your workplace, unionizing tenants, things like that. So collective bargaining is the baseline for all organization basically when it comes to the people and movements. And in America and basically in any country in the world, most people do not have the funds to have a big impact on politics or on their workplace. You know, they can't just buy their workplace if they don't like the way it's being run. Or they can't spend time because they have to work or raise children or things like that. They can't spend all their time lobbying their politicians to get things, running the way they want in their city or with their school boards. And so throughout history, people have realized that the one tool, the number one tool that the people have is our labor and our ability to withhold our labor, right? So that is like the baseline for unions and organized labor and collective bargaining. However, you have to look at the collective part, right? Because if one person goes to their employer, say, and says, I don't like the way I'm being treated, I'm not being paid fair wages, I'm working too long of hours, my schedule isn't consistent, things like that, and so I'm not going to work until, my demands are met, then the boss is going to simply just fire you because you're just being a nuisance, right? However, if you can take the time to talk to all of your coworkers, if there's like 20, 30 of you, and you all have the same complaints, and you all go to your boss at once, and you say, we are all going to cease working at once until these 5 demands are met. And we're not going to crack, we're not going to, cross the picket line, as we would call it. We're not going to do any of that until you do as we ask. And that is the collective in collective bargaining. So at that point, your employer, your boss, whatever you want to call it, is kind of at a standstill because they can either try to scramble and hire 30 new employees without training like immediately, or they can, bend to your demands. They can negotiate. They can try to meet in the middle, right? And so that is the baseline of all organized labor. You can see it also in tenants unions where people will come together in apartment buildings or, like blocks where the owner or the landlord is all the same for, a row of houses, and they will say, we are going to withhold rent until certain demands are met, until repairs are made, until maintenance is done, things like that. And that is another way of collective bargaining because, withholding your rent is just as powerful as withholding your labor, because in most cases where your labor is what pays the bills for your employer, your rent is also what pays the bills for your landlord in a lot of cases, right? So in both cases, it's never like a human kindness that gets things accomplished. It is always impacting the person in power's bottom line. And so that is collective bargaining, and that is why we want to come together and organize, and that is why unions, even in 2021, not 2021, I think I said 2020 earlier, are still going to be important going forward. And that is why I'll be making these short videos to kind of break down what they actually are.